Sup gamers, Jim here. Welcome to Is Naht Fun. The dot-com bubble of the late 90s and early 2000s created a ton of very naff stuff. Whether you were the one who gave the family computer mega AIDS by downloading what you thought were pirated Real Big Fish and System of a Down albums off of Napster, or if you filled your house, basement to attic, floor to ceiling, with thousands of cans of lima beans because you truly believed that the world was going to end due to the Y2K bug. There was some utter cyberspace-related nonsense for just about everyone. One example of the huge explosion of internet culture in the late 90s was the rise in popularity of a little computer program called Macromedia Flash. Flash would, for a time, become the backbone of the internet, and thanks to Flash, everyone from random teenagers playing around on their dad's Pentium to large multinational firms could make all sorts of multimedia content for both online and offline consumption. Absolutely everything from those annoying banner ads that proclaimed you the winner of a draw to win a Sega Dreamcast, to crappy webtoons made by two teenagers in an afternoon, to professional cartoons that aired on TV, to websites that stupidly stored your passwords in plain text, and of course, for our purposes, pretty simple to surprisingly complex games, impressive given the tools used to make them. That's where the subject of this video comes in, because today we're talking about Elf Bowling, one of the earliest Flash game success stories. Elf Bowling became a huge meme on the Y2K internet due to its use of viral marketing tactics, because the game's developers, an early cyber marketing firm called Nstorm, encouraged players to email the game to their friends, who in turn would email the game to their friends, and so on, until absolutely everybody connected to the internet on planet Earth had approximately 60 copies of this game sitting in their inbox, which I'm sure caused rates of workplace violence to shoot up to levels we've never seen before or since. This bold marketing strategy ensured the game's success, and led to claims in the media that the game was somehow more popular than PC gaming mainstays Doom and Quake. Because of the way it was distributed around, it also led to urban legends that the game was a virus that could destroy your computer, which it couldn't do, but it's understand why people would come to that conclusion, given that it was a game designed to be shared through email attachments. And as we know, absolutely nothing good comes from email attachments. That leaves me wondering what all this hype is about, given that this game has 4 sequels, was more popular than Quake, and had a terrible made-for-DVD adaptation, starring Tom Kenny, the voice of friggin' SpongeBob. So it's got to be good, right? Right? Today I'll be playing all 5 Elf Bowling games that come on this CD compilation that was released years after the Elf Bowling craze had truly died out. Yes, seriously, they released these Flash games as a commercial product, in a box, in stores, for stupid people like me to pay horribly inflated prices for on eBay years later. Let's find out what I've been missing. The game starts with a screen explaining that the elves at the North Pole have gone on strike, and Santa has decided to take matters into his own hands and break the strike himself. Old Saint Nick decides to tie up the elves and use them as bowling pins in order to break the proletarian spirit out of them. The goal of the game is, of course, to bowl for the highest score possible, while the elves smoke cigarettes, have their heads ripped off by the pin setter, and plant themselves at the very top of the naughty list by mooning Santa and telling the fat man in red that he sucks. All you do in this game is smack the spacebar when the cursor lands where you want Santa to bowl, and like in regular bowling, sometimes you hit the elves, sometimes you don't. Occasionally animals will run onto the lane and try to screw up your shot. You can't hit these animals though, because that would make the game even at all challenging. And we can't have that, because that would actually make the game even remotely fun to play. Yes, this is a simple Flash game, and you shouldn't expect AAA quality content here, but it takes about 15 minutes, if that, to see all of the content that this game has to offer. And these jokes that they tell get really annoying and tiresome after about, I don't know, the second or third time you see them. This game's putting me to sleep. I better email it to my insomniac friend and get on to playing Elf Bowling 2.
Merry Christmas, everyone!
Elf Bowling 2 starts with the screen explaining the game's plot, which is basically that Santa and the elves are on a summer holiday on a cruise ship, where they are joined by Santa's dead shit alcoholic brother, Dingle Kringle. Dingle challenges Santa to a game of shuffleboarding to decide who should bear the title of Father Christmas. The goal of the game is to slide your elves, which you do by snapping their speedos, far up the deck of the cruise ship as you can without them going overboard, with 100, 200, and 300 points being awarded for sliding an elf into one of the 3 designated zones, or 400 points being awarded for landing an elf right on the edge of the ship. There's a bit of strategy over how you should slide the elves. Do you play aggressively and knock your opponent's elves off the ship? Or do you try to play a bit more defensively and with caution? Unlike actual shuffleboarding, you also have to consider that the ship is banking side to side, which affects the arc of your elves when you slide them. Some of the elves offer bonus points by either doubling or tripling your score. However, when I was recording the footage for this video, only Dingle got those bonus elves, but it didn't even stop him from losing. Just one match was enough for me to decide that this game is okay, but charging money for it, even as part of a collection, is a bit insulting. Elf Bowling 3. This game sucks. Oh god, this game sucks. It has nothing to do with bowling whatsoever. At least shuffleboarding is a game vaguely similar to bowling. I don't know, if you squint a bit. You know what you do in this game? You don't bowl, you don't shuffleboard, you don't pick up trash. Instead, you use Mrs. Claus's massive bra as a catapult in order to play lawn darts, which doesn't work because this game has a very warped sense of depth perception. This game has levels where you have to exceed a certain score in order to unlock them, but you can't do it because this game is fucking impossible. And you launch the little fuckwits who do nothing but make snide comments and pop culture references, and they never shut the hell up. These little shits just get more and more annoying as this series goes on. I've had enough of this game. It's not even worth my time. It sure as hell is not worth the money that I spent to play it.
That's assault with a dead weapon. The name is Elf. Elliot Elf.
Elf Bowling Bocce style. If you don't know what bocce is, it's like a French version of lawn bowls. So now we're kinda actually bowling again. I know, insane for an elf bowling game. We're 4 games in, and there's only 2 where you do any kind of bowling. Surely you can't mess up something this simple, right? Apparently you can, because this is easily the worst game of the bunch. It's supreme shit. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work. The controls are horrible and make no sense. The game's graphics, even for a Shockwave 3D Flash game, are horrible. The game crashes. A lot. Look at it. Just look at it. Do I even need to say anything more about this game? Honestly, an actual company looked at this and decided to charge legal tender, actual fiat currency for the privilege of playing this. This! Supreme shit! And finally, Super Elf Bowling. It's basically a 3D version of the original game, much in the vein of the old real arcade game, Gutter Ball. Does anyone remember real arcade? Anybody? Anyone at all? Fuck, I'm old. It's a crap version of Gutter Ball, and it's much better than the past 2 games we've just looked at, but that's not really saying much. The game has 3 control schemes: the traditional elf bowling control scheme, a slingshot mode I wouldn't dare use, and controls inspired but not exactly like Gutter Ball, where we have a slightly more analog control over the spin and direction of the ball. This game also has characters with different stats, and you can even make your own character with its own custom stats, which adds some variety, but I'm not sure if it adds enough replay value. This game is okay. It's not as fun as Gutter Ball. You should probably just get Gutter Ball instead. You know, because Christmas time is temporary, while Gutter Ball is for life. This collection of games is just not worth the money. And worse, we probably haven't even finished talking about Elf Bowling. It got unlicensed ports to the Nintendo DS and the Game Boy Advance, and there's that aforementioned made-for-DVD movie that actually exists, and even though I've sat through the entire thing, I'm not wholly convinced that it is indeed real. But we don't have time for that right now, if ever. Thank you guys for watching this video. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa, whatever you celebrate around this time of year. Enjoy your holidays, and I will see you soon.
Elf, elf, baby.